Congratulations guys, you have successfully set up your PHP development environment, and now let's start writing and executing some simple PHP scripts to ensure that everything is working fine. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to close this welcome page. We have nothing to do with it. If you have this on your screen, you close it as well. This is a command line, the inbuilt VS Code terminal. You can also get yourself familiarized with some of these shortcuts. So the first thing we are going to do is to go to File, and we're going to say New File. So enter the name of our file. So I'm going to call it My First Scripts. And then we need to specify the file extension, which is .php. Usually for the computer to read any file on your machine, that file must be appended an extension. For instance, your music files are usually appended .mp3 and so on. Video files usually appended .mp4 and so on. So this is a PHP file. We need to tell the computer that this is a PHP file and it should be handled with the appropriate application. So here we specified .php at the end of the file name, and we just press enter. We need to select where this file is going to be stored. You can save it anywhere. You can actually decide to save it on your desktop. You can save it on your documents, your downloads. But I'm going to save it on my desktop. So I'm going to say create. So now we have our PHP file. We can now start writing our PHP programs. So I'll quickly write just probably 3 lines of code. The essence is for us to test that our PHP has been installed successfully. Don't worry. What we're going to write might be new to some of us, but we're going to get used to it as time goes on. So here I'm going to say PHP, and then I'm going to close the PHP block. So I'm just going to say echo double quotes, then close the statements, and then I'm going to say hello PHP. Okay, let's do it this way. Hello PHP. This is a PHP program. We need to check out if this is running perfectly well. So now that we've written this line of code, we need to save this file by pressing Ctrl S on your keyboard, or you just come over to this file menu and you say save. So it looks like the writing on my screen is a bit tiny. I'm going to increase that so it's more visible. So this is a PHP program. We have a file named myfirstscript.php, which was saved on our desktop. You can see the highlight desktop, right? We're going to try running this file. There are several ways you can run your PHP program. Let's quickly look at the 2 common ones we're going to be using in this series. How to execute or run a PHP file once it has been saved on your computer. We're going to look at 2 basic examples. The first one is using your command line. Command line is a piece of application that comes embedded in your machine or your operating system. So for those using Windows operating system, Windows calls it command prompt. If you are running a Mac operating system, Mac calls it either the bash or terminal, same as Linux calls it the terminal. So you are going to open your command line interface, the CLI, and navigate to the directory where your PHP file is being saved. In our case, we saved our file in desktop, and then we're going to type the command php space myfirstscript.php. You can actually replace this myfirstscript.php with the actual name of your PHP file. The second way to run this PHP file is using the integrated development environment. If you are using IDEs like the VS Code, you can simply open your PHP file, right click on that file, and then you choose to run PHP in the terminal. So VS Code has an integrated terminal that will save you the stress of starting your own local terminal made available by your operating system. So either ways, after executing the script, whether through the command line or the IDE, you will see the output displayed on the screen. So you can always use the shortcuts to execute your PHP scripts, your keyboard shortcuts, I mean to say. So let's head back to quickly demonstrate the 2 ways we can run our PHP script. First, using our command line. So now that I am running a Linux machine and you are running Windows operating system or whatever operating system, in Linux, my command line is named terminal. So I'm just going to search for terminal, and here is it, and it's up. So if you are running a Windows machine, what you should search out for is command prompt. You search out for command prompt and it should come up with a black interface. So now I'm going to type a command ls like this. This will list out all the folders and files in my current working directory. So I just type ls and I can see all the folders and files in this particular working directory. So here you can see my desktop folder. You see my document folder, my download folder and everything, as well as other files. So now we want to enter into our desktop folder. Remember, what we are doing in our terminal is equivalent to clicking on this particular place, desktop, right? And you can see the file we have in our desktop, my first PHP script. So we want to enter into our desktop folder from the command line. So you just type cd desktop, okay, and you hit enter. And now you can see you are inside your desktop folder. If you type ls again and you click enter, you're going to see the file inside your desktop, which is this, my first script.php. So now for us to run our PHP script, all you need to do is to tell your computer that what you are about to do is to run a particular file, and this file should be run with an application called PHP, right? So your PHP interpreter is going to run this up. And so once you've typed PHP, you give a space and then you type the name of the file you want to run. So we want to run my first script.php, which is the name of the file, and you hit enter. That's awesome. Our file has been executed successfully, and you notice that we have this hello PHP as it was contained in our file. So if I should change anything from here by saying hello, I am a PHP programmer, right? Sorry, let's fix this spelling error. I am a PHP programmer. And remember, we'll always save, and then we'll go back to our terminal, and then we'll do the same thing again. PHP my first script.php, and if we click enter, you see we have this content. Hello, I am a PHP programmer. So that's one way to run your PHP program using the command line. So remember I told you that the IDE can also enable you run your PHP program. Notice that VS Code has an integrated terminal up here. When you click on terminal, you say new terminal. So it's going to come up with the same terminal just like you've seen us practice with either our command prompt or our bash or our terminal application for Linux users. It's just to go back to the root directory. I'm going to type clear to clear up all this. Type ls to see the contents in your current working directory. So we'll just come down and say cd desktop and then you enter. Now you are inside desktop folder. You can say ls to see the contents in your desktop folder. And finally, PHP interpreter should run you your my first script.php, and then you hit enter. So you see we have the same thing, right? So I'm going to close this terminal and show you another way we can run our PHP file is to use your web browser, okay? That's where the use of Apache and things like ng's begins to come in as a web server, right? First and foremost, we have to pick our PHP file and take it to our web server root directory, okay? Our web server root directory is located in XAMPP, inside the XAMPP folder. So remember we saved this file in our desktop. If you are running a Windows machine, all you need to do is go to the C drive, access the XAMPP folder. This time around, we are not going to be copying the PHP parts. Look at what we are going to do. So I'm going to access my C drive from here. And this time around, we are not going to be copying the PHP parts just like we did initially. What we are going to do is we're going to look for a folder called htdocs. And here is it. So you should see it on your own C drive XAMPP folder as well. htdocs stands for hypertext document, right? So this is your web server roots directory or roots folder. You can open this folder and quickly delete everything you have in there. They are absolutely not important to us. So in my own instance, I'm not going to delete them, but you can choose to if you want to. So I'm just going to paste the file we copied. Here is it, my first script, okay? So remember, you still have your Apache running in your XAMPP control panel because we left it on initially. So you quickly head over to any web browser. So here is Google Chrome. All you need to do is to tell the browser that, okay, you want to access a particular file, and this file is located in a web server. So you're going to use the local host. You're going to say slash. Now, the file name, right? My first script. .php. When you hit enter, here we have it. Hello, I am a PHP programmer. Probably not clear enough. Trying to zoom this out. You see the result? So what I typed here was localhost / myfirstscript.php. Congratulations, you have just successfully wrote and executed your first PHP script. You have also viewed the result of your script using different methods. We are going to explore more PHP features and coding concepts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tutorials as we continue with this series. See you next time.